what's up, family? Love and light. Hope you feeling balanced and beautiful today. Truth and light, man. We going in again, and I just want to pick back up on where I left off and just say a few more things on that bridge, man, that we're building here. I mean, it's a bridge back to self, and it's a bridge on how to stay in time consciously, meaning to be able to visit the past and the future consciously. That's one of the highest goals in life, and it's something that we're not really prepped or trained or even brought to the direction of anymore. Meaning, that's the ultimate goal, to be able to think back. Oh, let's just whatever random date, 1910, ancient times, whatever time frame, even in your life, 5 years ago, to recollect and to be conscious of what's going on. See, we lose consciousness in time. And if you don't know your past, the past is what helps you navigate your future, which is what's the thing that's in your hands to mold within the present. And all of that is the trinity of how you have to be operating in this thing. But they don't really give us anything of how to operate this life. And that's what I'm spilling out on here, because there's really a fundamental blueprint to it. Shoot, I call it the code to life and the keys of happiness. It's really a blueprint to it. It's just a sequence, it's an order. Like, if you pay attention to it and watch it move along, it just moves a certain way. It's like digits and numbers that's just being plugged in. And it's actually very simple. In fact, that's what I'm going to show you. Like, it's actually pushed in front of our face every single day, and it just comes in many shapes, faces, and forms. But it is the truth in all of this light that we're sharing around here. And I thought the perfect place to start is to just say, if you're still in the past, you don't know something. And if you don't know something, that means you have to catch up. So you're still in the past if you don't know something. And let's just think about or break that down. Like, when I said 1910, right? If you don't know, let's say, what was going on and something major happened in 1910, 1920s, all that stuff, right? But yet you don't know it happened. It's as if you're in the past, because there's people living presently who know about that, and they would have to literally catch you up to speed of what has been happening here. It's almost as if you're just living presently, but mentally you're in the past somewhere. And this is just akin to the fact that time itself is not linear, like people kind of think of the chronological order of time. Time is circular, which is why in things like ancient times they were doing things that were more advanced, like having natural sources of energy just plugged into their environment, to the point where they didn't even use the electrical systems and stuff that we had. That's pretty advanced. And that's advanced in their own right. And there's certain things about the past that, namely yourself, your DNA, which is your memories, like your DNA, your RNA is your daily activities that move right into your DNA, that stores it, which builds up your DNA. And we have this DNA running through us of these ancient people, as well as the present people, as well as the middle people. So what's blocking us? And how are we not conscious when we go back through time? And then when we go and try to pave a way for the future, we need to be conscious of the vision that we see as well. And this is just a given. But nonetheless, we still live in a time where knowledge is available, but people do not seek it openly. And again, that's propagated. We have all this TikTok, Instagram, fast food, microwaves. Everything's quick, quick, quick. And it's gotten the human attention span to a little bit over 8 minutes right now. That's not very long. And to keep that like that, I don't know about you, but if I was trying to raise up a civilization or anything like that, I would never try to put a people to that type of degree of attention span, especially without teaching first. Like, once you teach, then whatever somebody wants to do is on them. But you gotta at least let the people know what's going on. So imagine, human beings are better than this. They are for sure better than the level that we've been on. Like, it's I've read so much. I've had some personal experiences. I've had conversations with some amazing people who have had their own experiences. But this is a taken history, and we got to remember that. That's what all this is about, remembering yourself, which is putting, what does it mean? Dismembered means to have your limbs, and we just think it's physical because of that. But then you remember, and that's putting yourself back together, right? So when we remember our memories, it's the same thing. We're putting ourselves back together. Let's give this back to ourselves, starting with ourselves, starting with the root of this. And so, again, I'm going to show you that they just put all this in your face. So, because they don't hide none of it. You just have to know the symbolism. They speak in symbols and codes and what things mean, right? So, because everything is a code, it breaks down in symbols, and even the words are symbols, like I keep saying. The letter A is the symbol A, and you put these symbols together, they do things. So everything, even the words we're speaking or reading, they're packing up symbols for us, and so everything's blending in into one when you start to look at the code. And so, United States Code of Law is something that they basically came out with to codify the laws, and that's cool. But within this, the U.S. Code of Law Title 7 deals with agriculture. Okay, so 7 USC 136 is definitions. And when we go into definitions, we go to D, it says animal, and this is the law. This is the law. Now, this is not legal advice before I say any of this stuff. This is jurisprudence, which is where laws derive from. This is just jurisprudence that I'm giving you, the knowledge of jurisprudence. And maybe some equitable principles behind that, but this is not legal advice. If you need any of that, go get a professional. But the term animal means all vertebrate and invertebrate species, including but not limited to man. I gotta stop and say that again. Included but not limited to man. The term animal means all vertebrate and invertebrate species, including but not limited to man. So they're saying that you can be classified as an animal if this isn't making sense. And they're not wrong. Humans are animals, but not all animals are humans, you see? And since you're human, you speak up for yourself. That's what you do. You use this chakra, this throat, this tones and vibrations that in the beginning there was the word, and the word shouldn't be coming back void, right? So in life, some equity here is basically saying that what's supposed to be done is assumed done in equity. And if you're not holding yourself in equity, then that's when you get pushed into civil and all these other rights and representative type of forms of government, and people speaking up for you, making rules and all this type of stuff, unless you make yourself private in the public. And again, this is all in your face, because look how they spin it. Chattel, remember that word, chattel slavery? Chattel is French, which really means cattle. Cattle is a cow, and cows get herded. They're domesticated animals. They don't move, so they have masters. So the chattel slavery had masters, right? And to keep perpetuating this, because now if you have a master, they're basically saying you have an animal. And this is akin to even in, the ancient times, that's what they call it. In Egypt, that's what they call it, since like 1810. Egypt, the Native American cultures with the Toltecs and all that type of stuff, they have, the animal heads, and they seem to just, what people think is worshiping animals, but they're saying that you have this animal nature inside of you. And you do. But the thing is, if you don't know how to control that animal instinct, like the one that just likes to do what it likes to do, like you put out some meat in front of a dog, you expect it to go eat. That's just, you can trap a dog that way. Rabbits with the carrots. So like there's this animal instincts that basically the carnal bodily desires of what you want to do, your animal nature. And you have to be able to conquer that nature. Unless you don't, and that's when somebody who knows and understands the animal nature will go and master over you in the animal nature that you can't control, right? So this is documented legally in a certain context, but you're assumed to be doing certain things within society that prevent this from happening, because when you say what you're doing, you're also saying what you're not doing. When you say what you are, you're also saying what you're not. If you're not saying what you are, and you are always signing things from people that are saying what you are, then you are what they are calling you. Physically, you will have to deal with that. Spiritually, you can escape, but since we're body, mind, and spirit, you can't just be in the spirit. You see what I'm saying? So physically, you'll bind yourself to certain legalities if your spirit doesn't match up with your body, which is controlling that animal nature, the one that, like, even with reading in the attention span and stuff, it's good to read and get some more information. You can even listen, but the attention span stops you sometimes. But nonetheless, that's that animal nature. You gotta elevate past that. And another thing they do, just a little quick tactic, again with the bread and circus, they called it in Rome, being drunk off wine, they call it occultically. The music that we hear, the entertainment, you can't even go to like Hulu or Netflix or any of that without seeing something satanic or just scary or something like that. So they, again, perpetuate lower energy things to us all the time that puts us into our lower bodily self, even if we're mentally not there, because our body receives stimuli, so it feels certain things. And it's always mind over matter, but remember, they don't sharpen the minds out here. They don't promote any of this, and it's very indicative that we stay on top of this for ourselves, and very behooving that we actually help each other on this and stick together, shine our light so that others have permission to shine also, because that's what that does when we shine out. It's not like we create more shadow, we join together on the fun. And we just have to be aware of what is really happening out here. Now, again, there's so many things you can do to get away from this little situation here, but I don't want this video too long, so we'll just keep building from there and start it like that, because this animal nature is something that we definitely will have to raise before we decide to go off into the spiritual, because then we'll have no landing pad. And that's why it's important to start from the bottom, from the base of things, which would be this nature that they promote and they televise worldwide, and they just broadcast a certain behavior on specific groups of people and communities. And that's how I'll end it, man. Y'all stay balanced and beautiful out here, loving light. I love you all. We're much more better united than divided, and that's how they conquer. And always remember that. And that includes yourself internally. Never divide your energies up, and never not do what you don't want to do, because that always is the doorway to what you want to do. The best things in life are on the other side of what you're scared of. All right? All right.